All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Alex Hackman. I'd like to welcome everybody out to the Parks and Rec Commission meeting this evening. Grateful for all of you that are in attendance and grateful that you're here. Wanted to proceed to item number 2 on the agenda of the approval of the February 14th minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes as captured by Gabe?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
I'll second that.
Any opposed? Okay. All right, now is the time for public comment for items that are not included on the agenda. And as a reminder, as you see at the top of the agenda as well, a public comment for each item will be limited to 3 minutes for each person and a total of for no more than 30 minutes per item. And so invite those to state your name as well. Yes, please, for the people that are listening online.
I'm Sue Prothro. I'm chairperson of City Park Pool Back to the Future. Next month, you'll be meeting with, in a joint meeting with City Council and the consultants. And it's my understanding that that is your last opportunity to ask questions and voice concerns about the project. I'm here today to ask you to view the designs through the lens of safety, specifically for lap swimmers. If you've never been to City Park Pool during noon lap swim, picture this. What we have are 9 lanes being used by a variety of water walkers, aqua joggers, and swimmers, all trying to get individual exercise in a shared space. There are no lane ropes, and the swimmers themselves are expected to instruct new participants on how and why to circle swim. It's disorderly and intimidating and unfortunately can be unsafe. Here's what we need at City Park Pool for lap swimming to be safe. 1, adequate lanes. A 33% reduction in lanes from 9 to 6 compresses the number of swimmers able to use the pool during lap swim times. I'm afraid that lap swim will become a time when only the strongest, fittest swimmers will venture out, which is kind of the opposite of the welcoming atmosphere we'd like the project to embrace. According to the architects, the cost of adding 2 additional lanes to any of these designs is $1 million. This is money we need to spend. Providing 2 or 3 lanes of long course during all hours the pool is open is not enough to offset the loss during high demand times. And the swimming population is increasing. If we are building a pool for the next 50 to 70 years, this is something we can't just ignore. Lane dividers. Whatever design we select, the new pool must accommodate lane dividers. We must purchase them and we must commit to using them. Lane dividers keep people in their own lanes and prevent accidents. Currently, lane dividers are used only by the Iowa City Eels. The club puts them in and takes them out for their morning practices. Finally, we need lifeguards actively involved in educating people about circle swimming and ensuring that they do it. I recommend placing 1 lifeguard on deck to help and instruct in the lap swim area. These lifeguards are young and they should be trained in ways to communicate with adults. This is a programming issue and one that could be tackled yet this season.
Oh, sorry. I really thought we had that turned on.
Did you notice that I ended on time?
Yeah. Thank you, Sue. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Appreciate that.
Gabe says, "Are you good?" I'm like, I think so.
The guys with hearing aids are really low.
Yeah. Just like Caitlin Clark right before the buzzer. So that's good. No, appreciate the comments. Thank you. Any other public comment as well? Yep.
Hi, my name is Hal Ide. The clock's running. Okay.
Yep.
I'd play Flight of the Bumblebee for you 3 times and just I'd get this out. So I'm a lap swimmer and a person who often bounces back in the late afternoon to float. So first I would like to say that whatever the 4 plans we adopt, we really need the 8 or 9 lap lanes. Lap times are often very busy already. There's competition to get a lane. We line up ahead of time so that we get in early so we can get a spot. I fear with 6 lanes, it'll be just the most dedicated lap swimmers. It'll become a thrashing, splashing, competitive thing that those who are just learning to swim, older folks, those who maybe want a breaststroke, will not feel welcome there. It'll be too crowded. That's just the way it will work. I'm sorry, it just will. I have long been bullish on Circle Swim. If you've swum at City Park and I've been in there, you know it, because I will organize it for you. Now, the Blackstone, which resides where my heart should be, has softened. I always wanted Circle Swim to be mandatory in these situations so that there would be room for everyone. I have come to realize that that doesn't work for everyone. Slower swimmers, older swimmers, those just starting. Some people cannot have a good workout, wondering if there's some speed demon coming up behind them. We need space for these people in order to be inclusive. I remember my first encounter with that. I had to be really brave to get in with that gang. My other item is that I really feel we must have a 25-yard and a 50-meter distance. The current designs do not accommodate a 25-yard distance. If we want to be inclusive, if we want to merge with the rest of the swim world, people just learning are downloading workouts that are a 25-yard distance that they want to do, and they need to be able to compare their times with that distance. This is standard throughout the United States. Let us not build something that does not work for so many people. People just learning, triathletes. Let this pool be inclusive with the swim world. Please, and please give us space. The last thing I want to say is please come on down at 6:15 this summer. Birds, trees, summer, young people swimming. It's the best way to start your day. It's a corner of Iowa City you should not miss.
Thank you, Hal. Appreciate it.
Let's see if there's anyone else.
Any other public comment at this time? All right, Julie.
I will just comment on a couple things that you brought up. First of all, the 25-yard or meter, I'm not sure which, is going to be included in the drawings that you will see on May 7th. As we said through the entire design process in the last phase, we knew they weren't shown in those 4 options, but it's always been our intent to figure out how to make that work. So the consultants are working on 2 different versions of how the 25-yard or meter could be added to any of the 3 designs that aren't like the current pool. So I just want everyone rest assured that's been heard, and you will see that on May 7th, that there is at least 2 of those lanes included. Some versions show it in the diving wells, some versions show it as an option with the main pool. So there will be options with that. The price tag, I believe, is per lane, not for the 2 lanes. So it's $1 million per lane. But once again, the consultants will speak to that additions on there. And they'll show all the trade-offs when you meet on May 7th. And I'll just leave it at that. But I wanted to make sure that we've been trying to get the word out that 25-yard and meter is included. It's just, we didn't have it done with the designs we showed in the preliminary. There will be some when you see it on May 7th. So.
Okay. At this time, we'll move on to item number 4 for status updates. And we're grateful to have Eric here with us as well.
Yes, we have Eric Horning from Hitchcock Design. I think he's going to come take my chair to present to you. 3 updates on 3 different projects happening. Updates that changed as of this afternoon in a couple cases. So.
get friends. Sounds good. All right, hello everyone. My name is Eric Hornig with Hitchcock Design Group, and I'm glad to be here. This has got to be one of the best days of the year so far, right? Beautiful outside, so good day to be out of the office. So glad to be here. We've had the good fortune to work on several of your projects right now, and so just wanted to give you an update on all of them that are active for us. So we'll start with Terrell Mill. And just to orient you guys, this is kind of just across the river from City Park, right on Dubuque Street as you're coming in, right by the university's kind of crew center there. This is the existing skate park. Let's see. Oh, wait, it doesn't work on that TV.
Oh, point at the computer.
Using the mouse.
Yeah, use the mouse.
There we go, there? Yeah? No, that's all right. Kind of to the south, right above the word park, is the existing skate park. The area to the north is still part of our study area, but that is essentially kind of natural areas right now. That's the basics. This is what it looks like today or in the fall. Got lots of natural areas, kind of good big open views, some pretty nice trees that we'll plan to avoid with our proposed improvements. And you can see the existing skate park, colorful, mostly tasteful words on there. I didn't see anything offensive. I don't know what any of it means, but the skaters do. So we've got an existing restroom there, which seems to be still functional and adequate, which we intend to maintain. So the first thing we did after we kind of got to understand the site, probably a note, the entire site is heavily in the floodplain. So this is, you guys are aware of water around here, but this was a site that was, the only thing that was dry in the last giant flood you guys had, I think, is probably the skate park itself. Thanks. Because it sits on a perched hill. So after we got up to speed on the site, we went out for some public input. We did a user survey, and we had a couple of community meetings, and we got what we felt was a good response. And these are a few of the highlights that we heard from people. There was a good mix of skate and bike. People's desire to have a good balance there. They wanted a good balance of young kind of starters and more experienced skaters. And when we say, I guess I use the term skater almost synonymously, but for the roller park, what we're talking about is skaters, scooters, bikes, inline skating, roller skates. So anything that's non-motorized can be here. And then let's see, they wanted a good balance of beginner and more experience, but maybe just a little bit of a bend towards taking care of the younger ones, the beginners, the starters. And we had a higher contingent of bikers turn out in the survey and at the community meetings that might be typical. So that might be, maybe just kind of keep that as a grain of salt with the results, that maybe it's potentially a little swayed toward bike. But very nice group of people, very passionate about what they do for their sport. We gave them some visual cues and asked them to vote on things that they liked. And these were a few of the things that they liked. So you can see the rails and the stairs, which tend to be a little bit of beginner elements. They definitely wanted kind of some ramps, like the half pipe on the right, and a little bit of bowls that you see there. And so we took that information and we came up with our proposed plan. So a few things to note. On the north end, across the parking lot, is a single-track bike experience that you guys have been working on for a while. I believe this maybe has a grand opening coming up.
The grand opening will be at your June meeting, so coming up soon.
So we wanted to make that connection. We felt the skate park in its existing location was pretty far removed from that connection, and so we wanted to kind of take that edge of the site and make a connection. It also is the highest and driest portion of the site. So kind of as you get up towards Dubuque, that contours rise there. And so if we were to put it, a little bit west of this, we would be in a wetter area. So those are some of our thinking. So at the north, we have a pump track. And this is, for those of you who are not really familiar with pump tracks, kind of the upper right corner is a good representation of it. So it's, it can be all bikes, skaters, scooters, everything can use it, but you use your own momentum and you kind of pump as you're on your board or bike to get momentum to go up and down and do these various tricks. This one, currently we're proposing that these are all concrete paths. Tends to be a good surface. That's the preferred surface for skateboards, and all the bikers and the other rollers kind of like are about 50-50 mixed. Some like concrete, some like asphalt. But so we're proposing them as concrete. In the center of the pump track, we're showing native grasses. And so we'd kind of soften the area around there so it doesn't look like the Indianapolis Speedway or anything. So it put a native grass palette back in there. And that'll be our palette throughout, generally natives and maybe ornamental grasses, but low maintenance type landscape. And then kind of the middle section there is the skate area. And we're calling this the beginner skate area. And let's see some of the imagery here. So you can see the rails on the left, the beginner skate element. And then the rolling bowls here might be the kind of the beginner skate. And I know what you're thinking, that doesn't look very beginner, right? But to the skating community, those are beginner. And then the terrace steps, I want to take note of. The lines that we have in the middle here are, there's a big running line that is just terrace steps, and that's probably one of the things that the skating community likes the most is steps and rails and things kind of affiliated with that. Allows them to jump and grind and kind of do all their tricks all in one. So there's a large portion of that. On either side of the skate park, so to the north by the pump track, there's a small gathering area, and we're showing a future shade structure in that area. And so that's kind of the spectator zone, might be some benches or tables, things like that there. And then there's a bigger one in the middle of the skate park here, which is the spectator area for the skating. It is a kind of a fluid community, so you will see them kind of go back and forth. Like they'll do tricks in the middle, and then they'll roll right into the pump track, and then they'll come back. So it is, and they're friendly and kind of the same type of user. Then we're making our connection to our existing restroom building to the south. And then what we're proposing, this is recent thinking, but the existing skate park is considered kind of an expert level skate park. And we're proposing that we make some minor repairs on it to make it functional. And then in the future, we would kind of ratchet up the expert level skate events. So we're showing some more intricate, kind of deeper skate bowls in a future setting. So, but in the baseline setting, the existing skate park would kind of be repaired, cleaned up, crack filled, things like that. Maybe there's some deterioration in some of the copings, and so we'd make it safe and usable and functional, but kind of defer the bigger investment in the expert level bowls for later. I think maybe I'll pause there for a second, see if questions, or should I keep going?
Well, and I will mention that the budget on this, we don't have that yet to share with you. It is well over budget still at this point, so we're still doing some engineering to it to figure out how to bring this into line with what the money that's available. So it's still pretty fluid, but I think the concept is far enough along that we really wanted your input at this point.
Oh, go for it, Brian.
I don't know if the skating community has like competitions, but would this park be sort of at a level where you could say, host events that would draw people in, to the area to use it?
Yeah, I think that is the goal, is that you'd be able to have an event. I think if you built this all out, for sure, and it maybe just depends on what size event or what target level you're looking at drawing in, but I think that's a goal, and I would say yes, that you're probably at that point where you can start to draw and have a Red Bull sponsor, and try and talk Tony Hawk into coming.
Yes, one question I had as well was just about accessibility, and so items for kind of accessible community and still taking advantage of some of these things as well. So
Sure. Yeah, so all the walkways, everything, all the connectivity would still be accessible. Baseline, less than 2% slopes, and it's a relatively flat zone. Almost the topography of the site almost follows the walkway that we've got on kind of the west edge there. So everybody should be able to get into it, and then up to their own abilities to get on, the actual events. But
that's a great question. Like, is the pump track wide enough for a wheelchair? Like, I don't know how wide they are.
Yeah, it will be.
Okay, that's cool.
So I don't know much about, my brother's much more versed in this space than I am, but so far as like some of the lines, I'm just trying to look through as far as transitions between some of the areas and kind of the flow from kind of whether it be skaters or bikers or other kind of activities that way. Has, I guess, some of the feedback that you've received on this have they kind of addressed some of those kind of lines that way, or are we kind of early on in kind of reviewing this at this point?
We're early on,
Okay.
but I can tell you that you can barely see little numbers up there, and those all represent elevation changes. So we have been thinking about how everything flows and connects. And the reason, like the reason that there's some lines are curved and some are straight are that they're trying to get enough speed and momentum to get to the next event. And so
That's what I wanted.
it's definitely not done, but there's some intentionality about the shapes.
Great.
Yeah, good question.
Just out of curiosity, I noticed the kind of dotted lines that are out in the grassy areas, especially on the lower part of that new development. Is there any significance towards those dotted lines?
Those represent elevation contours, and so those are where we're tying the grades back in, and like in this case, right here, there's 3 dashed lines there. Each of those is a foot of elevation, and so what that's telling you is that ramp gets up to 3 feet at that point. Oh, something I didn't mention, which is this crazy square shape here, this vertical accent structure. This is just an example. This is not necessarily the one that we're thinking about, but on the very end here, this is a very prominent view shed from as you come into town, right? This is kind of a gateway into town, really. And so there's a chance to do something that's sculptural, something that's beautiful, as well as skatable, kind of on that finger. And then we have, let's see, I believe one other kind of smaller one on the pump track. Yeah, in the top left corner, there might be a sculpture opportunity, but thinking there's a chance to, kind of continue this creative community that you have and put a sculptural statement there, if budget allows.
Are you going to have like picnic tables or any places for people to kind of like gather?
Yeah, the 2 areas where we have shade structures shown, those would be like, we would have picnic tables and benches in those gathering plazas.
Are there other questions for the commission? Okay.
I say put more trees in.
Trees are tricky because they drop debris, right? Which for a bike is not that big a deal, right? Unless it piles up. But for a skateboard, an acorn is an ankle twister. So, I'm a landscape architect, so I'm a tree fan. So we'll put them in, but you'll notice that they're off the skate area. So. intentionally.
Are there, sorry, one last question, I guess. With the current contours and kind of the floodplain area, are there, just want to ensure for future, for our strainability, that everything's kind of considered so we don't have any kind of deterioration that way over the years? Just want to make sure it's a benefit for many years to come. So just want to make sure that's been considered as part of this as well.
Yeah, I think the material choices in concrete and the structural integrity of that will be high, and our decision to place it kind of at the highest point on the site, I think, is important to the long-term longevity. Water will deteriorate things, particularly in the winter when water gets into those areas. But we think we're giving you the best shot on this site. Good. Okay.
Any other comments? Okay, on to the next one here.
All right. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. There's more images. Well, these are maybe just a little bigger images of the skate areas. Some character images of the bigger bowl, kind of the future bowl. And then the pump track. Definitely with a focus on that beginner level on the left. So these are just to kind of give you the character, right? They're not exact, but. As far as schedule goes, so we're kind of working, we're sitting in the schematic design phase. We're maybe about to come out of that and go into design development. And I think there's, maybe this is our working schedule, I guess, is the way to say that. But the hopes that we would, kind of bid later this year or early 2025 and be able to construct next year. All right, so that's project one. Project two was a combo, which is a Mercer Park and City Park kind of courts project. So that's the existing conditions there at Mercer. We ended up with a bank of 9 pickleball courts and 2 tennis out there, and connecting pathways that lead to the north parking lot. Just as far as the status goes, the demo is complete, the grading's complete, the base course is there, and the asphalt's coming. So getting close, and I've got a little more specifics coming up here in a second. And this is what it looked like this afternoon. So each one of those posts or those cones is it's like a pickleball fence or net post. That's what you're seeing there. So they mark those out. So getting close. City Park is the same contractor is building, and so they're a little bit parallel. They're about a week off on each of them. This one was primarily using the same footprint, but the biggest change we made here is we rotated the basketball to give it better accessibility to the walk. But again, this one is kind of in the same setting. I was hoping the base course was going to be done, but is not quite. So, but it's close. Might be done this week. And then I had a good conversation with the contractor. So asphalt, he's thinking that Mercer might receive asphalt this week and City next week. I know there's a little bit of rain in the forecast that may shift that a little bit, but getting real close to asphalt. Then they'll start fence. And then the color coat. There wants to be about, I think, a 21-day difference between the color coat and the asphalt to let the oils lift off. And then the target opening is July 15th, or completion date is July 15th. And I think they're on target to hit that. Should be with no issues. Questions on either of those?
Just with the pickleball, like, will it be a similar design where there's fence in between each court and also like plenty of room for like benches for people to sit?
Yes.
Between games?
Yeah, so we have, and we talked a lot with the pickleball folks during the design phase. And so we have kind of 2 alleys running east-west there, and then each court is individually gated. And so the kind of the spectators can hang out in the alleys and kind of lean on the fence and watch the game. And that it's our understanding that that is their ideal setup. So I think you have provided what they wanted. So
That's good to know.
yeah.
All right, any other questions from the commission? I know there's a lot of excitement about the pickleball, so I hear from coworkers as well as other friends in the community, so a lot of excitement for the increase that way, so appreciate the work.
So I work on a Parks and Recreation team. All I do is Parks and Rec all day, every day, and we talk about pickleball every single day. And then this is going to seem like a duplicate, but it's not. So this is Mercer Park field improvements, and this is a joint project with the school district, and we are looking at Field 1, which is the kind of the big baseball field on the right, and Field 4, which is the softball field to the left there.
It was baseball, though.
Oh, it was, yes. And so let's see. I'm gonna show you the improvement plan. So you gotta look at for the flip that's gonna happen here. One of the major things we're doing is we're rotating the softball field to be the ideal sun orientation. And so this is what's kind of happening with the softball field. So it takes it out of the kind of the maybe more traditional quad complex, but it puts girls softball in the ideal sun orientation, just like boys baseball, and so it's the appropriate thing to do. And it all fits, and it's kind of working out with, right next to your new court project. I'll zoom in here a little bit. So yeah, the rotated softball field will have a new entrance, new gateway as we're coming in on the east edge of the field here. This is all natural grass field. The dugouts will be like CMU block dugouts, so real, building style dugouts. 10-foot perimeter fence, pro style netting backstop. Let's see, and good size spectator bleachers in the back and a press box. And then some improvements to Field 1. We're going to regrade the outfield because it's kind of not graded the way that you would typically start with grading. And we'll redo a little bit of fence in there. And then the core area, which it kind of clipped off. Maybe I'll go back here. So we're going to reconnect the kind of the core area. We're going to add a shelter, put a plaza in the middle, and we're going to make accessible walkways that get to all the dugouts, which are currently like gravel paving offshoots.
Maybe I should speak about the funding of how. So you've seen this project a couple times before. It's been in the works for a couple years. The last time you saw it was still all about baseball. And what happened is the school district at City High is making some changes where they need to move their varsity softball field. So that is why this is now showing a new softball field. So the City High varsity softball program will move to this facility. That means that most of the project, as Eric describes it, is actually being paid for by the school district. Our funding remains the same, and I don't remember the amount, and it is primarily for the ADA improvements and the central walkway and kind of the entry area, the shade structure, the roof on the concession stand. Everything you see in Field 1 and 4 will be a school district part of the project. So.
Good. I think that might be a wrap. Happy to answer other questions.
Any questions from the commission?
Maybe this is something more that even you can answer, but I know it's mainly through the school district, but will it be public, use as well?
So the entire complex still remains publicly funded and public use, but Fields 1 and 4 will primarily be used by the 2 varsity programs, which that's what baseball has been for the last 3 or 4 years anyway. But youth baseball will still play out of this complex as well.
Yes, thank you, Eric, for being here and showcasing great work, and appreciate all the efforts to beautify our community and provide more opportunities for recreation, which we love. So appreciate the improvements there. Thank you. Now move on to item number 5. So reports from city staff, and we'll start with Julie.
So a lot of my report had to do with what you just saw, the 3. That's been the big part. A note on our other 2020 this year's park projects. So Brooklyn Park, College Green Park, trail access at Calder Park, and a new park out in the Shannon Drive area by West High. It appears that we are a little behind on getting the contract with the consultants to get started on those. So most likely construction of those will not happen this summer. They would happen then the following spring. That being said, May 8th is the night that we will be doing the neighborhood meetings for 3 of those projects. We won't actually be doing one for Calder Park. That's just a trail extension. But the other 3 will happen. That would be the night of your regular Parks and Rec Commission meeting, but since you're meeting with council the night before, we're going to use that time in this room to have the neighborhood meetings, neighborhood input meetings for all of those. College Green is playground, basketball court only. The Shannon Park area, new park, would likely be a shelter and a small playground. And then Brooklyn Park is primarily replacement of the playground that is there. So those are 3 planning projects coming up. Okay, so let's talk about May 7th. That is your big night with City Council. It is from 4 to 6, and Gabe will once again send out for RSVPs. We don't have to have quorum from commission, but we certainly hope that you will attend. This project is a little different in that it is not coming back to you for a formal recommendation to the council. So this night is your opportunity as a commission to be at this meeting. You'll sit up front around the dais along with the City Council. The meeting starts at 4 with a presentation from the project consultants. They'll go over the information gathered in the Phase 2 public input as well as the surveys, talk about the designs that you've seen, the 4 designs, but talk about those a little bit more, and then go into the recommendations based on that input that they have received. And then there'll be time for you and the council to have discussion, and we would certainly welcome all of you to give your opinions and input at that time. There will not be a decision made by council that night, though. Realize that this is a workshop, a question and answer session, and a time for you to speak about what you like about or don't like about the project. The council will likely make their decision 2 weeks later at the next council meeting. That's the plan as it stands now. So there won't be another meeting between that, another commission meeting between that time and when the council goes. So I just want to make sure you're all clear on that. I know you're being lobbied by a lot of people on this project, and so it's important to know that it's not a formal recommendation from the commission, but it is your chance to voice and have your input on that. And as I mentioned, the 25-yard or meter options will be included in the designs that you see. A lot of the input that's been received in recent weeks is being looked at by the consultants, and they'll be presenting that with the trade-offs towards the 9 project goals as we've talked about before, whether that be the very areas for use, the budget, the tree line, the amount of water. They'll talk about all those things, and then I'm sure that council will get into the overall budget and how they might consider trying to fund this now that it's well over where we started at. So could be a very interesting discussion. I would suspect you'll be there for the full 2 hours. It does have a hard stop by 6 o'clock for the regular council meeting to start. So, yeah.
Is it May 6th?
May 6th. Oh, May 7th. Did I say 6th? I'm sorry. Tuesday the 7th. Yeah. And I think they'll address all the things you heard tonight. There has always been the intention that there will be lane lines put in. It's some weird history here that we don't do that, but that's part of the designs that lane lines would be included. I would mention having the lifeguards teach people to share lanes and circle swim. We'll do our best. That's going to have to be a cooperative effort by everyone that gets in the pool. And remember that several of the options have the aqua water walkers, the water runners. They have separate areas for them to do those activities, so they wouldn't be a part of that core lap lane area during that 1.5 hour heavy use time. And once again, remember, the idea is that we would have the 50-meter lap lanes, at least 3 of them open during the entire operating day, except in the last option. So lots of information. If you have questions as commission, please get with me before that. If you get questions from the public in general that you wonder about or have questions about, please call me or email me. We'd love to get more information out. So.
All right, thank you, Julie. Tyler?
So everything's about a month early this year. So restrooms are on, water's on in most locations. We had a few little minor fixes like we always do after a winter season that we're working through, but it's nice to have the restrooms open when it's nice out. So we also had the company that provided the locks when we switched those over come in, and they replaced every single one of them free of charge because we were having issues. I think I talked with some of you maybe at a meeting last year. We were fortunate that they came back and replaced those, so we're hoping for better locking at this point. We still have a little bit of an issue with some of the locks at Riverfront Crossings, but we're working through that still here. Mowing, we've already mowed ball fields 3 times. I don't know if we've ever done that this early in the year before, but that's the reality of this year. So we're trying to keep ahead of that, because if anything, you can't let it too tall. It's the ball fields, because once you'll get thatch and everything else once you get behind on those. So we're working hard to keep up with those. As we're getting seasonal staff started, we have had some seasonal staff start as well, so that takes a little bit of load off of everyone else, but we are ramping up in our season at the same time. Plants, perennials are ordered, so those are good and ordered. We have some trees ordered for the spring. Our RFP for our request for proposals for our tree planting for the fall for the supply of the trees just closed today. We will be reviewing those proposals and then picking a supplier for that. And we will be planting those in-house this year, so a change from past years. Budget was a little bit tighter, so we're planting those with staff time and diverting that time from other projects to do that ourselves. Let's see, and then you heard a little bit about your June meeting will be the grand opening of the single track trail. We're calling it the Ice House Single Track Trail. As you probably know, there's the old Ice House Foundation there that is featured within the trails. So the staff that's working on that has been putting skills features together this week, and will continue to do that for at least this week and next week. So if you've been over to Coralville on their Creekside Trail, they have a skills area. They have a few features there. We have about 3 times the number of features. Our trail is shorter, but we've really made an effort to add a lot of cool features, so it should be a fun place to use. Those are my main comments. Besides,
Arbor Day.
What?
Arbor Day.
Oh, Arbor Day. Arbor Day, tree planting, you are all invited, as well as the rest of the public. A press release went out this week. We are having a planting of 77 trees at Oakland Cemetery on that Saturday. I believe it's the 27th. It's the last Saturday of the month, from 9 until noon-ish, I will say. Until we get the 77 trees planted, anyone's welcome to stay. We'll do a brief intro at the beginning. We'll have our Arbor Day proclamation that we'll read. We'll celebrate our 44th year as a Tree City USA and our Tree City USA Growth Award we received for this last year. It'll be a celebration. We'll do a quick planting demo, kind of like we did for you all last year at one of the meetings. And then everyone will kind of disperse and plant trees, and hopefully a lot of the public is around as well to do that. We may also have some tree keepers from Trees Forever, their current cohort that's learning about trees. They will be planting the weekend before, so they'll learn about planting and then hopefully stop over to that planting as well to share their new expertise on that. So mark it on your calendars if you're not busy with soccer or something that morning, and join us. Awesome. Any questions? Yeah.
What did you call our a Tree City? That's an official.
Yeah, Tree City USA. So you'll see signs at all of the main entrances to town. There's a kind of a tree in the logo. It's kind of a green shape with a white sign, and then it says the years on there. It's actually a worldwide thing, and we have been 44 consecutive years. I think it's been around for 46 or 7 years total. So Iowa City got on board from the beginning. So we have our predecessors to thank for getting us on board, and it's something we take pride in. You have to meet certain qualifications of money put into planting. A forestry staff is one of the things that get you a certain requirement, and then putting so much money per population into your tree program and into the urban forest. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, Brian.
Are you, I noticed there's some still down trees in some of the parks from the winter. Will crews be kind of working on that now that we move into the spring? Or?
Yeah, we've been working on them. If do you know a spot specifically?
Yeah, there's a pretty big down limb. I could connect with you offline.
Yeah, no, that'd be good. Yeah, we've been trying to get to them all. As you remember, our 1 week of winter this year, it was pretty pretty impactful. So we've gotten most of them, but there's still some lingering ones out there for sure that I'm sure as we start mowing too, we'll come to them if they're in mowed areas. But definitely, it's been a prolonged effort, but we're getting there. Yeah,
appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Rachel.
Sorry, of the 77 trees, the types. Did the staff decide at the Oakland
Yeah, that's a good
Cemetery,
question. Yeah, we had a lot of people decide on that. So we worked with Mark Vitosh, our district forester. We worked with Andy Dahl, who's the forester at the university. We worked with a couple of members of the Northside, actually 3 members of the Northside neighborhood that have interest or knowledge in trees, cemetery staff, and myself. So we all provided input and came up with species and kind of an aesthetic that we were going for. So I think it'll be a nice blend and still honor the hickory oak savanna of the cemetery, but adding some diversity in at the same time. Yeah, great question.
Any other questions from the commission? All right, thank you, Tyler. Appreciate it. I do not have any items for the chair's report, so at this time we'll go around from the commission for any future agenda items. Maybe we'll start with Rachel if there's any future item.
I just want to apologize to everyone for being late. I drove from Arkansas to get here, leaving at 6 a.m., and I was using a paper map. So as Bugs Bunny said, I made several wrong turns at Albuquerque, but anyway, glad to be here.
Gratefully made it safely.
I had a question. I was biking around Waterworks Park, and the entrance off Dubuque Street. I was just curious if there's any plans to do any kind of more established bathrooms or water fountains there. It does get a lot of use, and I know there's the portable toilets. I'm just kind of curious.
There isn't at this time. There's some restrictions there because of the water treatment plant. I'm not 100% sure I can address all of those, but I think that's the reason why there hasn't been a permanent structure put there, and it's not anywhere in our next 5-year budget. So.
Maybe Virginia?
None.
I don't believe I have anything either.
Connie?
I just had a question about the Rec Assist program. I'm doing a ceramics class here, and it's really fun. I'm not very good, but it's a very fun class. But one of the participants said she uses Rec Assist, and she has to pay the full amount and then gets reimbursed.
Okay.
And I thought that sounded
So Brad would be our person that knows
Yeah.
about that, and
Okay.
I'll have to get him, I'll get him in touch with you. I don't know, do you know the mechanics of how that?
I don't know if it's different for the. I don't know if it's different for the ceramics classes, but from my understanding, do you have like a pass or like the ceramic class itself?
the class.
Then I would imagine that would be a 50% off at the time
At the time of
of purchase, from my understanding. It might be different for that specific class, but
Okay.
I'll have to look into that as well.
I'll ask her again,
Yeah.
and then and then I can direct to Brad if there's
Yeah.
other questions. Because I thought that, well, that's interesting
Yeah.
that they'd reimburse you. I thought you just.
I don't think that's the case, but let us look into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Thank you. Other than that, that's it. Thank you very much.
All right. No items for me at this time. So, and with that, no other agenda items. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.